Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all are fine and doing well and enjoying your e-classes and e-lessons and doing your home tasks with responsibility. I am Samanajaz, your English instructor. This video lesson is for grade 2 assignment 16. So students, today we are going to discuss our part 2 of the grammar portion. Today our main focus is on adverbs. Now adverbs are basically parts of speech. How many parts of speech have we learned so far? Noun, that are the naming words. Verbs, that are the action words. Adjective, something or a word that describes a noun. Pronoun, something, a word that is used instead of a noun. So today we are going to learn a new part of speech, that is an adverb. Now adverb is a word that describes verb. So students, as I told you that adverb describes a verb. Now I am going to make a sentence in which I will show you how adverb is describing a verb. Like I make a sentence, he sings loudly. Now in this sentence, he is the pronoun, sings is the verb. Whereas what is loudly? Here we have got the verb and loudly is the adverb. Now as you can see in this sentence, the adverb loudly is describing how is he singing. Is he singing loudly or is he singing softly? Now as you see, he loudly. Is this making any sense? No, it does not make any sense. Sings loudly. Sings loudly. Loudly is describing basically a verb. So loudly is the adverb and it is describing a verb. So students, now we have discussed what are adverbs. Now coming towards our today's topic, adverbs of frequency. So students, coming towards our today's topic of adverbs of frequency. Now what is basically frequency? Frequency is how often something is happening. As I already told you, what are adverbs? The words that describe a verb, adjective or another adverb. Frequency, how often something is happening. Now the words used for adverbs of frequency basically are always, usually, sometimes, hardly ever. Never. So students, before making sentences of these words, let's make a short chart. Now always means something that is happening always, that is 100%, as we have learned in our mathematics. Now for a sentence, I always drink milk. That is, it is 100%. I am doing this work 100%. Usually. Now usually is something that you are mostly doing, but it is not 100%. So it is considered to be 75%. Less than 100. Now I usually have breakfast. So this is something that I am mostly doing, but it is not 100%. There are some days I skip my breakfast. Moving forward towards sometimes. Now sometimes comes in the middle. That is, it is 50%. Something that we do and something that we don't do. So I sometimes play badminton. It is something that I sometimes do and sometimes I don't do. Moving towards our next adverb of frequency, hardly ever. It is calculated to be 25%. Now as you are watching that we are moving from 100% and decreasing our percentage 75%, 50% and then 25%. So these are the things that are happening mostly, always, that's something that is happening always. Usually the amount or the percentage or the frequency has decreased. Then we have got sometimes, something that is happening or something that is not happening. Sometimes comes in the middle, that is 50%. Hardly ever, it is something that is hardly ever once in a blue moon. Like, I hardly ever go to party. Something that I mostly don't prefer to do, but sometimes, only once, hardly ever. Never. Now, never is something that I don't like to do. Never ever. The cross indicates that never, this is happening never. Now, here we have got 0%. Never, I never fight. Now, in this way, you can see that we have built a chart for adverbs of frequency: always, usually, sometimes, hardly ever, never. And we have written the percentages as well. That is something that is mostly happening, that is always. Now you can also make your own chart. What you are doing always. What is your always thing that you always do? Like, I always like to study hard. I usually have a breakfast. Sometimes I have breakfast and sometimes I don't. I sometimes play badminton. I hardly ever go to the party. And I never fight. Some things that I don't ever do. So students, this was our adverb of frequency. Now moving towards our exercises for this adverb of frequency. So students, here we move towards our exercises of adverbs of frequency. Now before moving towards our exercises, let's revise the adverbs of frequency once again. Now here you can see the adverbs always, usually, sometimes, hardly ever, never. These text represents the severity. As you can see, the number of the text starts to decrease from always to usually, then sometimes, then hardly ever. Now let's have a look at our sentences. Lily always escapes. Now here this sentence shows that Lily 100% escapes. Moving towards our next statement. Lily is usually nervous. Now they are telling that Lily is usually nervous. That is, she's sometimes nervous, she's sometimes not nervous, but usually or mostly she is nervous. Leo sometimes tries to catch Lily. Here we have got that Leo is sometimes trying to catch Lily. Now this sometimes, as I already told you, shows 50% level of frequency. That is, Leo sometimes he tries to catch and sometimes he does not try to catch Lily. Leo hardly ever tries to catch Lily now. You can see there is only one tick for the hardly ever. Hardly ever shows that he does not try to catch Lily that much. Never fight. Now here Leo and Lily never fight indicate that they never ever fight. They have never fought with each other. So students, I hope this reading is good for you. Now moving towards our next part. So students, now moving towards our part A, grammar and use. So here we are also going to learn about frequency. As I told you that we can use any of the pronoun and use any of the adverbs of frequency along with it. But when we are using I, you, we, they, the verb you see is fight, whereas he, she and it, the verb is fights. Here we are indicating the difference between the verbs. Like as you are making a sentence, I always play. If you consider a sentence and use the verb play. He always plays. In this way, the verb is basically changing. We are adding s for he, she and it, whereas for I, you, we and they, the verb also remains the same. Whereas we can use any of the adverbs of frequency for any of the pronouns. I always, I usually, I sometimes, I hardly ever, I never. Similarly, like we are using for she always, she usually, she sometimes, she hardly ever, she never. So students, I hope you understood this concept and how are we going to use the verbs along with the adverbs of frequency and the pronouns. Now moving towards the part B. As you can see in the part B that we have got a chart. The chart indicates the frequencies. There are some of the people, some of the kids here, and they are telling us how much they do something. Like, now let's read the first statement. Jim sometimes drink milk. Now in order to attempt this question, what you have to do is to put the chart in front of you. Now as you put the chart in front of you, you have to see from the column of the Jim that how much time he drinks milk. As you can see in the column that Jim always drinks milk. So this statement is false. Here we are going to write false. Below the chart we also have got the expression of always, usually, sometimes shown by the tick marks. Now for the next one, Annie never goes to the park. Now as you can see, there are 3 ticks in going to the park in front of Annie. So these 3 ticks indicate usually. So this statement is also false. In this way, you have to attempt the next statements, put the chart in front of you, see the frequency, how frequently something is happening, and then mark the statements true or false. I hope all of you are able to attempt this part. Moving towards the next part. So students, here we have got our part C and part D. Now for these parts also, we have to focus on the chart that is given above part B, as we did previously. Now for part C, look at the chart again, circle the correct words. Now here you all have to look at the chart and then circle the correct words accordingly. Now the first one is Rosie. Now move towards the column where Rosie is written and then Rosie usually, sometimes drinks milk. Now see in the column of drinks milk, how much frequently is Rosie drinking milk? As Rosie sometimes drinks milk, so I am also going to circle sometimes. Now for the next statement, Annie never always eats fish. Now look into the column of Annie and see the frequency, how much is Annie eating fish. As Annie never ate fish, so we are going to circle never. There is a cross where there is written Annie and eats fish. The column there is a cross that indicates never. So that's why I have circled never. Now moving towards the next part, that is part D. Now complete the sentences. Here also we have to look into the chart and complete the sentences. Now the first person is Jim. Now you have to read it in front of the Jim. Jim goes to the park. Now see how frequently is Jim going to the park. As there is only 1 tick and we can see that 1 tick indicates hardly ever. So here I am going to write Jim hardly ever goes to the park. Now for the next one, Roy blank drinks milk. Now you have to look into the column for Roy and how frequently is he drinking milk. As we know, Roy never drank milk. There is cross in front of drink milk for Roy, so we are going to write never. So students, I hope all of you are able to attempt both of these parts. The main focus for these parts is the chart. First of all, try to study the chart and then attempt all these statements. Now moving towards our next part. So students, moving towards our part E, complete the sentences. Now you have to complete these statements according to your own opinions using adverbs of frequency. Now here reading the first statement, I drink milk. Now how frequently do you drink milk? For me, I always drink milk. So here I am going to write always. For the next statement, I eat fish. How frequently do you eat fish? You have to give your own opinion. How frequently are you eating fish? Do you like fish or you don't like fish? As I usually eat fish, so here I am going to write usually. You all have to give your own opinions. How frequently you do something. For the next statement, I blank play ball. I hardly ever play. So here I am going to write hardly ever play ball. In this way, you can give your own opinion. If you always play ball, then you can write always. If you usually or sometimes, you have to use your own adverbs of frequency and give your own opinions. So students, I hope all of you are able to attempt the next statements and I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So, What you have to do is to attempt all the assignments of adverbs of frequency. So, I will meet you next time with another very interesting and amazing video. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.